before we get started, just make sure that you guys either sign in with this QR code or the link in the description. All you have to do is sign in with that link and it lets us know it goes through our referral. So it just basically adds another person that's done it through a referral. It really helps the club and our school. So please do that. Thank you. Also, guys, just a reminder that the IBMZ online career fairs are going to be coming up soon. We have the dates on screen, and if you're a Western student, it's going to be April 12th. And just know that you need to get your Xplore badge, just the concepts. So, keep doing that, and we hope to see you there. All right, so today we're going to be getting into the Files module of IBMZ Explorer. So this one is just pretty simple like the last one. All we're going to be doing is sort of understanding how to interact with these data sets on the text editor VS Code. So let's get started. Um, so first we're going to be setting our high-level query. So if you remember from the last video, I talked about how a high-level query is just like it's sort of a filter to look through only specific data sets that you want so that it's just more organized. Um, so the query that we're going to be using is our user ID. So I'm just going to get mine here, and you'll be using yours. So let's create a new filter. And what I'm going to do is this is just our user ID, and then the other one we want to do, they're all separated by commas, zxp.public. Basically, zxp.public are what we're going to be working with for pretty much every single module from here on out. They're all the Explore public modules, so you can't make any changes to them, but you can execute them. And what we're going to be doing is copying them into our data sets so that we can actually modify them on our end. So you can see our data sets are going to be coming from this one here. So let's do it, and then we open it. If you already had it open, it won't show until you open it and close it again. It has to refresh. And if you look here, we have, right, so this is our user ID here and here, which makes sense, right? And then we have all of the public ones here. So we're first going to submit PDS build, and that PDS stands for partition dataset build. So this is sort of just like a folder. Um, partition dataset is just it's a dataset that holds a bunch of datasets. You could look at it like a folder if you're new to this. So we'll go to public.jcl and we'll scroll down till we find PDS build. So right here. Um, and then if you want to take a look at this code, sort of get into it, you can. But we're just going to submit it for now. Um, and you can see it's submitted. If we check down here, it's active, which means it's building, and it gave us return code 0000, which is good. That's what we want. So we're going to close this up, and then we're just going to hit refresh at the top, because otherwise we won't be able to see it. You can either do that or close and open the data sets. All right, so if you've noticed, we have some new data sets, right? So we've got our input, keys, surprise, and these two right here. So that job just created all these data sets, and we're actually going to be manipulating them for the rest of the modules. So now we're just going to be following the steps for renaming a member, deleting a member, and copy and pasting a member. So I want to go back into VS Code here, and if you saw, we just generated a dot input with our zuser ID. So we're going to go through all of these files and see what they say. This one just says welcome. This one says the date, and this one says delete this member. Okay, so and then this one says rename this member to blue. So let's start by renaming the member. So first thing we're going to do is just right click it and then rename member, and you'll see up here, this is where we type in what we want to call it, so blue. And you'll see it just updated. Now, if you remember, we had this one that said delete this member, so this is similar, just right click it, and at the bottom click delete, and just confirm that. Um, and then we have our surprise data set here, so if we open it up, we can see we have this one green. This member is green. Copy this member's name to our input partition data set. So we're going to copy it, and you can see when we go up here, we right click on the partition data set and click paste. Um, Copy this member name. So they don't want us to change the name. We're just going to keep it as green, and we're going to put it in here. So what you guys should have is two colors, the one that you've copied here, and then the one that we've renamed. And then you guys should have deleted that data set. Um, and then yeah, so now we're going to go to the next step. So you just learn how to rename, delete, and copy paste member. These are like just essentials, so make sure you know how to do those. Pretty simple, just right clicking. But yeah. All right, so we've been using partition data sets. So a partition data set is, think of it like a folder, right? So it's a folder that holds multiple data sets. It's just called a partition data set, PDS for short. Now let's look at a sequential data set which contains actual records of data, right? So think about how like um, in a database, right? You have all of your tables, right? So think about, let's say like a table is a partition data set, right? Your entities. And then you have a bunch of tuples, a bunch of rows of data. So let's say you have a students table. That's your partition data set. And each student identified by their student ID is a record. It's almost like storing data in a flat file like you do in school if you have programming assignments where you're reading and writing to files. It's sort of stored similarly. So what we're going to do is uh, we're going to head over to our sequential data set here, SEQDS, short for sequential data set, and we're going to put something at the bottom. So let's just say, I think they said they recommended putting the weather, so hello, it is snowing, because it is. And then we'll just create a new line there, save it, make sure you guys save it. I have autosave on, by the way. You can turn autosave on here, so it just saves every character, but if you're not saving it, make sure you save it or else it won't register when you go to submit it. And then there's some cool facts. 190 processors, 40 terabytes of memory, pretty sick. Alright, so now the last step is going to be creating a new member. So we're going to be creating a new member in our input partition data set called my new member. And you'll see they spelt it weird. That's because there is a limit on the naming of records. So just the general rule of thumb for mainframes. But yeah, so that's going to be it for the files module. So all we have to do is now submit check files. If you remember from the last one, we just did that. So head over to our public JCL, scroll down here, go to check files, and we'll submit this job. All right, there we go. Let's double check that we got it right. They don't tell you to do this, but it's generally good practice whenever you submit a job. Check the code that you got. We can see we got 4 zeros, which is good. Return code 0. Keep that in your head. And let's head out back over to our Explorer. So um, what we can do, I'm actually going to open, sorry, I was just on the last one. We can see we have files here. And then like always, okay, we can take the quiz actually. All right, so what are the two types of data sets we learned about so far? In fact, I'm just gonna let you guys, if you want to pause this and go do it yourself, you can. I would recommend that because um, you don't you don't lose progress for not getting them right. You just get one extra point, right? So you might as well just do it, right? What are the two types of data sets we learned about so far? Think about folders and think about the way that the records are. Okay, it's partitioned and sequential. I didn't mean to highlight that. I guess I just, sorry. Um, which of the following can go inside a partition data set and can contain records? All right, so let's think about the language that we've been seeing. You know, I I'm just gonna say it. It's member. Yeah. Which data set do you have full read? I'm assuming they meant read and write. All right, which data set do you have full read and write access to? Okay, well they kind of gave it away by putting this extra hint there, but it is this one. I don't even think that these ones exist. Maybe this one exists, but this is the one, right? Uh, anything that starts with your user ID, you have access to. I can pretty much say that as somebody who's done this full module. Anything that you see your user ID in front of, you can use. All right, so we'll submit the quiz, and then once we've submitted the quiz, it's going to tell us to go to the PDF. But we've already gone through it in my slides, and then you guys, of course, I told you um, all of the like all the steps that I did in each slide. If you need more information, go ahead and go to those steps. So we'll just go take me to the files challenge, and then we'll do check my JCL. So like always, it should take just a little while. So you can see we get that just by submitting it, even if we didn't do it right. But you can see it's even telling us if we got a completion code of 0 from our files one job, that's good. And then the 127 is always going to be what you get if you did it wrong. But you can see they just popped up there. So yeah, that's the last one for files. Next one is JCL, a little tougher, but definitely fundamental. You need to know that, so make sure you check out that video.